Hello everyone, James Van Ingen here again. I'm sitting in the park today. It's the time and date is Sunday, August 23rd, 2026. I'm in the Central Time Zone. It's about 1:40 in the afternoon. And the purpose of this video is just discussion. Really, I want to know what you people are thinking, how it makes you feel. You can like, comment, subscribe, share, all that good fun stuff we do with social media. And the topic of this video is corruption in homeless shelters. We've been over this one a few times in other videos in the past. You can check out some of my past work on my channels, and you'll find out that I've been talking about this for a long time, this kind of stuff. I've been homeless for more than 20 consecutive years. The average lifespan of an American homeless person in the United States, a homeless citizen, if chronically homeless most, if not all of life, is 50 years. Okay, the average lifespan of a chronically housed individual, usually an adult, is 80 years. Okay, so the main cause of death for homeless people, as important as it is to discuss addictions and crime that homeless individuals commit, as important as it is to talk about that, because it does happen, and I know it too. I know it very well. Okay. I'm kind of losing my thought here. I'm gathering it back together. Sorry about that. As important as it is to discuss that, what often goes ignored is discussing the crimes of the businesses, the charities, nonprofit charities. Discussing those kinds of crimes. Not just framing all the homeless people as criminals, because data and reports and research shows in recent decades that's not true. There are a lot of homeless people in the United States with no criminal records. A lot of homeless people in the United States who are not addicted to drugs. So, what this comes down to are crimes that business people commit, the charities themselves and the nonprofits. Recently, there has been a report in the news about a chief executive of homeless services in San Francisco. Her name is Gwendolyn Westbrook. Okay, she's been running the shelter systems in San Francisco for years. All right, and all the while she was stealing money. Yeah, she was stealing. She was charged with 9 felonies, and one of those charges is grand theft. It is actually highly illegal to steal from homeless people in the United States. It's wrong to steal at all, I know, but it's one thing if someone's trying to charge a cell phone and stealing electricity. That's one thing. That's something a lot of homeless people I've noticed do. We do tend to steal electricity, if you will. It's like, but we're stealing pennies worth of it just to keep our phones charged. You know. This woman stole millions of dollars. She was given donations and government subsidies, and she pocketed most of the money. That I have been saying since after the first couple of years of experiencing homelessness myself and having to volunteer in the homeless shelters, which I've done many times, and working and advocating and for the homeless community. She was giving people like donors and the government the impression that her work was saving lives. Keep in mind, the last report I know of, 36 homeless people die every day. If we do the math, that comes out to about 13,000 homeless people every year, and most of them are dying from extreme weather conditions, exposure to extreme weather. Indeed, the weather is more deadly to human beings than addictions. According to the science and the data from credible sources of information, the weather is deadlier than addiction. Let that settle in if you're not familiar with this topic. Let that settle in for a minute. The weather kills more homeless people. Okay? So she was painting herself out to these people that she was saving homeless lives. Up until people started noticing too many of the homeless were dying in the streets and in her shelter care. Yeah. She stole so much money over such a long period of time, it killed people. Her greed and dishonesty in charity work in the nonprofit sector of business killed people. It resulted in permanent injuries and death that was preventable. A lot of Americans really struggle to comprehend that homeless people deserve to have money too. You can ask these billionaires getting the tax breaks at the end of every year. They're donating millions of dollars at a time and getting huge tax breaks. And I don't oppose that. I think that's a good idea. But these shelter workers are lying to these donors. These donors are expecting that money to be divided up and given to the homeless, if not used to house them directly through their services. Okay? If they're not reaching a high level of people using their services and getting housed, and nationwide it's around 9 out of every 100 homeless people. That's really low. That's a 9%. Okay, so she's pulling these tricks, right? And she's committing these deadly crimes. And she's going through her shelters and just giving the homeless people crumbs and keeping the money. So she's lying to the homeless people that she's going to help them get housed and and everything. And then she's turning around and lying to the donors too. And be like, "Oh yeah, we're housing all kinds of homeless people and saving lives." And that's not what she was doing at all. She was effectively killing people in her care. They turned to her for help. It was her job to help. She didn't do that. She just conned people and lied and stole millions of dollars over several years or more time. I have been pointing this out since after the first couple years I experienced homelessness, out of more than 20 years now. I started noticing this kind of stuff and pointing it out. That's highly illegal, and it's illegal because it results in a lot of injuries and death. I'm glad finally after decades, somebody is getting popped for it. If you know what I mean, somebody's finally getting busted for that. There are over 3,300 homeless shelters in the USA, and almost every one of them are doing this. Almost every homeless shelter in the USA are stealing money and lying about it, and people are falling for it. So I'm glad some people didn't fall for it, and they've started to wise up and confront these kinds of criminals. Because as many homeless people are ex-convicts, okay? These are ex-convicts who are reforming their lives and rehabilitating, and the homeless shelter is killing them with crimes just right back. They're committing crimes and killing off homeless people in the USA. Those millions of dollars, as I understand from the news report, shows that the money was supposed to be given to soup kitchens and homeless shelters. and none of it was. She then lied and misreported her salary year after year after year. So this is kind of the insanity, the criminally insane aspect of this topic that we want to talk about here. And you can say so down in the comments section if you have anything to share with me and others on this channel. What do you think of those kinds of criminally insane people? She's never getting out of prison now. At her age, if I'm judging her age fairly accurately, I don't exactly know how old she is at this time, but she's too old. 9 felonies? You're gonna die in prison. After about 40 years old, 9 felonies? If she's older than about 40 years old, she's never getting out of prison. She's gonna die there. And all those people who used her services ended up in prison because they weren't getting the help they deserved and went out committing crimes. She's gonna be in there with them. Let that sink in. There are going to be a lot of former homeless people in penitentiaries all over her for the lives she has cost out of greed and dishonesty. Alright, I think I'll just finish it here. I'm just saying this off the top of my head. I've been thinking about it. I hope you'll like, comment, share, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And tell us what you think. What do you think of criminal insanity that involves this kind of greed and dishonesty? Alright, bye for now.